transaction costs, to reduce NGO reliance on donor funding, and to initiate a process of financial sustainability. This was an era of aid fatigue, and it was time to make NGOs financially sustainable so that they would not continue to depend on donors. But the donor focus on financial sustainability in turn changed the character of the NGO sector. And a study of these 11 NGOs shows how systematically the amount of their expenditures that went on social issues and social mobilization dropped over this period, and the amount of their expenditure that went on microfinance and economic services rose. That study of the NGOs placed them on a continuum from very narrow microfinance at one end, very minimalist microfinance, essentially interested in borrowing and lending. At the other end, social mobilization organizations that did not offer microfinance, did not offer credit, but sought instead to remain with that old Freirean model of mobilizing and organizing the poor, but now becoming far more political because of the decentralization. And in the middle, microfinance organizations that combined service delivery with legal awareness training and so on. The 6 NGOs that we decided to study can be placed on this continuum. They were Shamunta, and going from left to right, from social mobilization organization to narrow microfinance, Shamunta and Nijatakuri were pure social mobilization. Proshika and Brack combined microfinance service delivery with legal awareness training, etc. While Marine Bank and Asha are at the minimalist microfinance. As you can see, they have certain things in common. They all have they form people into groups, that's essential. Though Marine Bank and Asha are less and less focusing on group formation. The 2 social mobilizations do not offer credit. The others offer credit. The 2 social mobilizations try and build the savings of their members into a group fund for collective purposes. The others do not. All 4 of the organizations offer training and rights awareness, but the 2 narrow microfinance organizations do not. Then you have training and petitions, demonstrations, and so on. None of this is spontaneous. You have to be taught how to demonstrate and to put a petition and run a campaign. And these are all often individual people. So that kind of training is provided by the social mobilization organization. And the social mobilization organizers try to federate their groups into larger structures. Now, according to the study of the large NGOs, microfinance organizations see their role as the market route to empowerment. You provide people with funding, with finance, they invest, they start to grow out of poverty through enterprise. Social mobilization organizations may think economics is important, but their focus is on political empowerment. Now, there's been a lot of research on NGOs in Bangladesh, but there is a very interesting methodological divide there. There are huge numbers of quantitative studies, but they focus on the microfinance organizations, and they look at their economic impacts. Did they get out of poverty? Some of them look at women's empowerment and so on, but the focus is really assets, poverty reduction, food security, and so on. And then highly quantitative, econometrically very sophisticated, and so on. On the other side, you have a number of assessments of social mobilization organizations, and they focus on their political impacts. To what extent are they promoting grassroots democracy, and so on. But they're all qualitative. So you have this methodological divide, which seems to reflect the fact, the belief, that microfinance organizations generate tangible impacts which can be measured, and social mobilization organizations generate intangible impacts which are better suited to qualitative research. But we decided we were going to do a quantitative research on both. We wanted to find out to what extent these organizations, these 6 different types of organizations, generated economic and political impacts. And we sought to try and quantify the intangible aspects of political impacts. The strategy that we used for assessment was to compare new and old. And we took equal numbers of male and females where there were mixed membership. And we had 100 new members and 200 old members for each of the organizations. New is less than a year, old is 5 and more. 5 and more years membership. Okay. As far as the impacts were concerned, we had economic indicators which are developed from the literature on poverty in Bangladesh, ownership of land, cattle, participation in labor, and did you have any food shortages in the previous year? We had political participation, voting in national elections, everybody votes. It's not like the UK. I think 85 to 90% turnouts. So we focus more on local elections because there is much greater unwillingness to vote. But because even there it's quite high, we also ask for campaigning in local elections. Do you campaign? Do you interact with elected representatives? Do you interact with local government officials? And interactions for poor people is something relatively new. There has always been a distance between elected representatives and poor people. And are you consulted by locally elected representatives? We looked at community participation. Are you consulted for advice by people in your community? And this is a sign that you are given some degree of respect, that you require some degree of respect. And remember, we're talking about quite illiterate men and women who know land very well. Do you accompany other people to government offices as a form of service? Do you take on that responsibility because you are a part of an organization and others are not? Do you accompany them when they need help? Do you participate in the local justice forums, informal justice forums, which have always been monopolized by the wealthy? So we want to know, does membership of NGOs increase your participation in these forums? And do you participate in collective action around rights and justice issues? And finally, we looked at some attitudes and values which we felt, through discussions that we felt could try and have a bearing on ideas about citizenship and democracy. One is, do they think that the quality of justice has improved in the last 40 years within their locality? Do you think of yourself as a citizen? Do you think everyone is equally a citizen? And do you trust people from other religions? In a part of the world where religion has become a hugely divisive factor and a way of excluding people, we felt the issue of religion, trusting people from other religions, was important. Okay, what we did was, there was bivariate analysis and it gave us a certain story, but because there were so many differences in the characteristics of the membership, we felt we did have to control it. Certain organizations may have more educated people, other organizations may have more women, other organizations may have people with more land. So we need to control for the differences in the characteristics of individual members, their households, and their locations. So we use logistic regression analysis. I brought in an econometrician to work with us as a co-author for Cairo, and he did all the fancy stuff that they do of instrumental variables to make sure that there was not selection bias. Don't ask me what that means, I have absolutely no clue. But I believe it is what one does, it's a procedure one does, in order to be taken seriously by some sections of the econometric community. So we did all that. And then we carried out these regression analysis. And what I've done for you, on the assumption that so many of you will be unfamiliar, Diane, with the results, I've put it into words. I've put all the numbers into words. So, what we find are the economic indicators. What you're basically seeing is what is the likelihood of a positive impact, okay? So that's how we read the results. And what we find is that as far as food security is concerned, Nijapuri, social mobilization, and ASHA had positive impacts in terms of food compared to the others. In terms of paid work, Nijapuri and CRAP had positive impacts. Whether or not you had ownership of land, Shamata, social mobilization, we're going social mobilization to narrow microfinance, right? Left to right. Shamata, Puri and Proshika all had positive impacts. And what you should know is Proshika used to be a very strong social organization. Till it got overtaken by financial sustainability issues, and it's become a microfinance organization. Got into huge trouble with the government, and it's now on its last legs. It would probably have had much stronger impacts if we had not got it at this very early stage. But one of the things all these three organizations have prioritized is mobilizing around land rights support. The government recognizes these rights, but powerful landlords and industrialists take over the land. So these organizations help poor people to literally fight. In the 70s and 80s, these were face-to-face struggles with sticks and stones and guns and so on, and people died. Now these battles are not as acute, but they take more of a form of legal harassment. You know, you pick up a landless person, you don't accuse them of trying to steal your land or take back the land, but of murder or rape or anything, you tie them up in legal hassles for a long time. But that is one of the reasons why those three organizations